your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hey there, welcome in. Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart here on 365 Sports. I force a smile because I just blew a freaking gasket with this POS laptop that I have. But then I come back in here and I've got a chat that is just bumping right now. A comment section that is just going off right now. Shout out to you guys. And we'll answer some of these questions in here if you actually give me some questions. We will talk about A.J. Brown and whether the Patriots should trade for him. That's coming up in a couple of minutes. We're going to start with actually a different Brown, Jaylen Brown, what LeBron James is saying about him, what Jaylen Brown is saying about himself, and why he might be able to sneak into the back door of this MVP race in the NBA. And then if we got some time a little bit later on, we're going to talk about the absolute crash out around the world after the U.S. hockey team wins the gold medal. And I'm talking crash out from Canada. I'm talking about crash out from here in the United States. It just goes to show that when you live your entire life online and you put everything online, these people, everyone's going to make it political and it's going to suck. But anyway, all that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. Live on YouTube as we are 3 days a week. We're dropping stuff on YouTube every day of the week. And of course, we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well. So excited to talk to you guys about that. Also, obviously, the big thing we got going on tomorrow, live show, live remote at the Blackmore Bar and Kitchen in Charlestown. So 5 o'clock tomorrow. We'll talk about a little bit more about that later on in the show, but see us there. It's right before the first Bruins game back from the Olympic break. So if you guys are in the area, want to come around tomorrow, say hi, come and see us. Come and see us. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. I do want to start with this Celtics thing because I'll tell you guys, I have been locked in to the Celtics. And I don't know what it was last night. 9 o'clock tip-off, and the game was literally over by 11:11. And there was no Jaylen Brown in that game last night, but we're going to be talking about Jaylen Brown. But this Celtics team, man, they're suffocating. They're suffocating. And the thing that I thought was going to be their quote-unquote downfall for a team that's going to be a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference that was expected to maybe win half their games, what I thought their downfall was going to be was their defense. Like Joe Mazzulla can coach up an offense. That's not going to be an issue. But I was worried about the defense going into this postseason run. And all they've done the last 2 months is turn themselves into a borderline elite defensive team in the NBA. They're top 5 in the NBA in all the major defensive categories since the start of the new year. In the last, I want to say 6 weeks, they're first in points allowed per game. They just held back-to-back teams under 90 points. Like I know Book wasn't playing for Phoenix, but neither was Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum for the Celtics, and they held them under 90. They held Luka's Lakers under 90 on a big night for the Lakers. And they just keep winning. The Celtics team, they just keep winning, man. And they remind me in some ways of those Miami teams that we hated, that were just gritty, had a bunch of role players, yada, yada. I mean, it's a team that is fun to watch. They play hard every minute of the game. And it is a team that could absolutely make a run in the Eastern Conference. And they're led by Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, what he has done this season has been phenomenal, if not unbelievable. Because, again, the Celtics over-under in wins this year was 40.5. Like, you had to be optimistic to bet the over and pick the Celtics to win half of their games this year. No Jason Tatum. No Drew Holiday. No Kristaps Porzingis. No Al Horford. No Luke Cornett, damn it. And yet here they are. They're the second best team in the East. And Jaylen Brown is putting up MVP numbers. He is. And that's not just coming from the Celtics homer. That's not just coming from your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. That is coming from someone who knows a little bit about basketball. Someone named LeBron James. After the Celtics belt to assed, if that's the past tense of it, the Lakers the other night, LeBron James said this, quote, JB is playing great basketball. This whole MVP thing, I don't understand why his name is not getting talked about. Nobody gave them a shot to start the season, and he's averaging just under 30 points per game. Really is a popularity contest sometimes. You might know a thing or two about that, LeBron. Won a couple of MVPs yourself. But he's right. It's kind of crazy that Jaylen Brown is just not even in the discussion, right? Kind of the darling child, the one out of nowhere in the MVP discussion is Cade Cunningham. It's not Jaylen Brown. It's about him and SGA and Jokic, who are fantastic. Wemby were fantastic players. Don't get me wrong. But once again, I have to ask, what leagues are looking for the MOP and what leagues are looking for the MVP? Like, I know the numbers are way different with the Nuggets when Jokic isn't on the floor. And certainly the Thunder are not the Oklahoma City Thunder that they are this year or NBA champions from last year without SGA. But can we take a second to appreciate the fact that there is a team out there that lost at least 2, maybe 3 starters and a top 5 player in the entire NBA. And they're in second place in their conference. They have a legit shot to go to the NBA Finals before said top 5 player in the NBA comes back. Wouldn't you look at that team and say, who's leading that team? We want to talk about value. All of us, the big brains in the NBA, thought this team was going to suck. And they're embarrassing teams. Why don't we take a look at who's leading this team for an MVP slot? And that's Jaylen Brown, man. Comfortably a career high, 29 points per game. Almost filled up the box score with another triple-double the other night against the Lakers. He's done that quite a few times, but settled for 32, 8, and 7 in a 20-point victory the other night. And when you ask analysts and specifically former players who are paying attention to this league inside and out every day, they're talking about Jaylen Brown, Tracy McGrady, Kendrick Perkins, DeMarcus Cousins, Charles Barkley, and LeBron James have all said they think that Jaylen Brown should get more consideration for the MVP, if not saying he should outright win it. Only DeMarcus Cousins from that list didn't say Jaylen Brown should win it. He said he should finish second. But even then, that is a heck of a lot more recognition than he's gotten from the rest of the league. And I found this next soundbite really, really interesting. And it's from earlier this year. And Jaylen Brown himself thinks he's not going to win the MVP no matter what he does. Because, he said, the style they want to win the MVP just is not my style. Let's hear from JB himself.
Era of the floppers. If you want to be a great player, you got to sell your soul. You got to be a flopper. If you want to be an MVP, you want to be top of the top, you got to sell your soul and just be a flopper. You know what I mean? Y'all tell me what y'all want me to do. Y'all want me to be on that? I could do it. I could start going to practice and working on working on throwing my head. You know what I mean? Working on, hey, just as soon as somebody touches, hey.
And he's got a really good point there. He's got a really good point. We saw it with SGA. We saw it with James Harden. We didn't see it with Jokic, who's won quite a few of these. But you kind of have to be that. You kind of have to foul hunt to be that guy. And this is a good point from LJ Booth here, who's been all over the comment section. Jokic is really impressive. And I don't think any of his, 3 now MVPs where you that guy was just foul hunting, right? The dude averages a triple-double. There's no doubt when you're talking about all-encompassing most valuable player of the 2020s, it's Nikola Jokic. But here's the thing. Jaylen Brown does not think he can win the MVP by the way that he plays. And I kind of agree with him on that. If all things were being equal, he would not be able to win the MVP because of that. Other guys are going to average more a game. He's also not as efficient as some of these guys that are in the conversation, although it's not like he's woefully inefficient at all. He's just like 12th in efficiency, and there's 2 guys ahead of him that are in the MVP race. But here's what's going to make this really interesting. We've got a new rule in place. You got to play 65 games in order to be eligible for the MVP, which I think is completely fair, by the way. Completely fair. You know, that's roughly 3/4 of your games. Like, if you're playing less than that, you probably shouldn't be in consideration for that. And now this makes it really interesting, because look at this graph here. When you look at the guys whose MVP candidacy are in jeopardy. Nikola Jokic can only afford to miss 1 more game. He's out. Like, that's going to happen. Like, load management, back-to-backs. He's going to have a night where he takes the night off and he's not going to be eligible for MVP. Wemby, Luka, both not on pace to hit that 65 game mark. And SGA just barely surviving by the hairs on his chin. So from that, and looking at the odds here and who the leading odds guys are, with Cade, SGA, and Nikola Jokic, that tells me this is going to come down to, by proxy of the new rule, by the new letter of the law, this MVP race could well come down to Jaylen Brown versus Cade Cunningham. Now, it's interesting because both these guys have similar narratives around them right now, right? Neither of these teams were expected to be the number 1 or number 2 seed in the East, and yet here they are. Detroit number 1, Boston number 2. And so when you have this great turnaround story like the Pistons, you got to look at who's leading them. And I think Bill Simmons put it as, it's kind of like the Derrick Rose MVP, right? They're going to be first in the conference, and you look at a guy in Cade Cunningham who there's not really anything he does poorly. There's no numbers that really jump off the page necessarily from Cade Cunningham and say, wow, this guy should run away with it. But he's efficient. He's been the catalyst for turning around his team. And there's nothing glaring about it. And he's going to play more than 65 games. And by the way, if that's what it comes down to, Jaylen Brown and Cade Cunningham and SGA and Nikola Jokic don't even make the minimum requirements, they will change the requirements again. Like, that's just how the NBA is. But if it comes down to Jaylen Brown and Cade Cunningham, why don't we go side by side with the numbers, shall we? Oh, boy. This is difficult here. Oh, this is difficult. Points edge to Brown, points per game. Rebounds edge to Brown. Points is nothing crazy. It's 2 baskets. That's 2 layups, right? 1 more rebound, essentially. And they're pretty close to everything else except assists. Cade obviously playing point guard. But their per game numbers, they're all right there. Jaylen's technically been a better shooter, but look how close that is. Better effective field goal percentage, still pretty close. The VORP, which is the WAR stat for the NBA, that's a nice little bump for Cade at 1.5 more wins per, I guess. Value above replacement player, or over replacement player is what VORP is. So now how do you do it? Because here you're going to have 2 guys who are very similar statistically and very similar in narratives that are the 2 candidates for the MVP. I don't think Jaylen Brown is going to win the MVP, but this makes it a lot more interesting. I think he is going to be very much in the race. Like, I think he is going to be comfortably a top 3 finisher, because I don't think Jokic is going to make that. I don't think Doncic is going to make that. And certainly Wemby's not going to make that. They love sitting Wemby, dude. Love it. So Jaylen Brown's talking about how we should be flopping more. And yet he might backdoor his way into this race. And it shouldn't be a backdoor, but it's going to feel like a backdoor, right? Nobody clipped that. And I do want to go back to the original point that I was making there, and that we need to look at value more in MVP races. I said this about Drake Maye the whole second half of the season in the NFL. We either look more at value or we make it an MOP award and not an MVP award. And that's why it probably should come down to Jaylen Brown and Cade Cunningham. You know, these are the guys who are leading the Eastern Conference right now, leading their teams that neither one was expected to be a top 3 seed, a top 2 seed. Neither one was. And what I think is really funny is you get all these former players, and I'm sure current players, but we hear all these former players talking about how Jaylen Brown should be the guy because look at what he's done with the Celtics team and look at his numbers. And I'm thinking, you know, Jason Tatum's had some similar seasons to this. Plenty of them, actually. And he's led the best team in the Eastern Conference and at times the best team in the NBA. Jason Tatum never gets this kind of love. He never gets this kind of recognition. There's no player in the league that's like, you know what? You know, you guys can talk about Wemby and SGA and Jokic, but really, Jason Tatum should be the MVP of the league. Jason Tatum should be getting more shine here, more recognition. And of course, now when he does come back, he's going to get less recognition because look at what Jaylen Brown did when he was out. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Can Jaylen Brown win the NBA MVP? Let me know in the comments section. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. And we are right here on 365 Sports with the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart, where the only BS is Boston sports. And that's how we like to keep it. Guys, we're going to talk about A.J. Brown in just a second. Like, I know you guys have been so great with that. But first, I got to tell you about my friends over at Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Okay, they've been so great to me. I love heading over there before seeing Jaylen Brown play or before seeing Murat Husnudinov play. Okay, pre and post game for the Garden. That's Celtics, that's Bruins, that's Hockey East Championships in a couple of weeks. It has cheap parking. It's easy as hell. You can sit there, have a bite, have a drink before the game, and then you can walk on over to the Garden. And then you come back afterwards. Maybe you have one more drink. Maybe you have some more bites. And then you're waiting out the traffic. It is absolutely perfect. Right in historic Charlestown. They have got so many options for you. 34 rotating draft beers. I mean, you can find something you like, plus craft cocktails, awesome kind of bar food, you know, burger sandwiches, flatbreads, and they got brunch every Saturday and Sunday. I don't know what else you could be looking for other than the fact that the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart will be there live tomorrow, Thursday, February the 26th at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to get you ready in a special happy hour edition. It's the only happy hour in Massachusetts. Okay, don't look for happy hour deals, but it's happy hour because I'm there. And we're going to talk about the Bruins, the trade deadline, get you ready for Bruins Blue Jackets, a couple of gold medalists playing in that game as well. We're great. We're feeling lucky to have the NHL back, and we will be doing it tomorrow, 5 p.m., Wicked Boston Show at the Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. So this lively comment section we got going right now, I want to see you guys there. I want to see you guys there. I want a little, like tape over the helmets on the first day of practice, a little tape on your forehead to give me your handle there. Okay. That would be great so that I know who's commenting. When I see it going live during the show tomorrow. When we come back, quick 2-minute break, we're going to talk about what you guys came here for. Patriots, A.J. Brown. Are there too many red flags there, or is this the exact trade that Drake Maye needs? Boy, this is an interesting conversation. We'll do it next on the Wicked Boston Show.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.
whypersonalloans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit personalloans.com today.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration, they have a problem, and they're actively looking for a solution.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Matt Piffle, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mattpiffle.com and start celebrating your story today.
All right. Back here on the Wicked Boston Show, 365 Sports. Cam Stewart here, Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air every damn weekday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. Hope to see you guys at the Blackmore Bar and Kitchen tomorrow. Can't wait for that. But let's talk some football. Okay, let's talk some football, shall we? On your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio here on the Wicked Boston Show. The rumors are heating up once again. We heard him at the trade deadline. We heard him basically every week since then. And now it's back. A.J. Brown to the Patriots. It's a sexy headline. I'll give you that. Certainly the Eagles are trying to move on, right? Like, I know they're going to dodge the question here, but like, of course, they're not keeping A.J. Brown in here. And now we finally have a trade proposal from an outlet, but a trade proposal nonetheless that would bring A.J. Brown to Foxborough. Okay. This is from Mo Moton, Bleacher Report. Okay. And he proposes the Patriots trade a third-round pick and Carlton Davis for A.J. Brown. All right. I hear you there. Carlton Davis had a nice season. Good player. You just signed him last year, and you do need to go out and get another corner anyway. So, there's two ways to think about that. You can say, well, now we need to go out and get two corners, or you say, well, now we attack one in free agency. We get one in the draft, and, maybe then we can cover up for it. There's a couple of different ways of looking at that. But in terms of a cost, if it's just going to cost you Carlton Davis and a third-round pick for a receiver of this caliber, who just walks onto the field at the beginning of the season and goes out and gets 1,000 yards, no matter how diva-y he is. That's tough to say no as a Patriots fan. That is tough to say no to. To say, nah, I really don't want to give up that third-round pick for that 1,000-yard receiver, A.J. Brown, that all-pro receiver, that Pro Bowl receiver, multiple times. But the con of this is the fact that A.J. Brown's available in the first place. Because the man has just thrown tantrums and hissy fits and bitch fits the whole season and into the season before, playing for one of the best teams in the entire NFL in the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, like a team that won a Super Bowl, that has a great defense, that has a dickhead as a coach, but who's a pretty good coach, and a quarterback who's good. Not great, but good. They could get A.J. Brown the ball. And so that does raise some red flags for me. Whenever A.J. Brown is in the news, it's not because he's having a big game. It's because he's arguing with his coach or arguing with his quarterback or wants out. And literally, he's a Philadelphia Eagle right now, and he's going on the Gronk Edelman Dudes on Dudes podcast. And it's great for us Patriots fans, but he's giving a little wink. He's talking about the Patriots. Okay, is that fun a year from now when he's had a couple of fights with the Patriots coaches and he gives a little wink to the Kelsey Brothers podcast about going to join the Chiefs? Like I know wide receivers are divas, but there is an off the field or on the sideline angle of this that is a red flag. That said, let's look at it from a football standpoint for a second, shall we? Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. Do you think A.J. Brown's going to have better stats if Drake Maye's the one throwing him the ball? I think so. I do think so. And do you think A.J. Brown could be a good little helper for Drake Maye while he's still on his rookie contract and you can afford to pay him big money? Because bottom line is, as much as Kayshon Boutte was really nice in this past season and the step up that he took, that is not a legit X receiver on the outside on a Super Bowl team. A.J. Brown is. And we say it with every young quarterback around the league, right? Every quarterback we say they need a big-time outside receiver that they can go to on third down and in the red zone. Drake Maye has kind of had that. Stephon Diggs plays more inside, and he's good in short to intermediate routes. He wasn't great in the red zone this year. He's good on third down, not anything super special. And I will say, while Stephon had a good year, I wouldn't call him a game breaker. Would you? I wouldn't call him a guy who's just breaking a game wide open, taking the top off a defense. No. A.J. Brown is that. And again, we look at the young quarterbacks in the last 7 or 8 years, the ones that have been successful. They've had these guys. You know, Joe Burrow has had 2 of them with T. Higgins and specifically Jamar Chase. You know, Purdy has had a couple of big-time threats on the outside, you know, and in the slot too, because that's what Shanahan does, right? You look at even Justin Herbert, for example. Quentin Johnston's kind of turned his career around as of late. Patrick Mahomes, you know, he's done more with less the last couple of years, but when he first got into the league, Tyreek Hill was his dude. So we say that about every young quarterback. Drake Maye is no different. What's really impressive is that Drake Maye got them to the Super Bowl without a guy like A.J. Brown or Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill. To do it without a big-time, game-breaking receiver like that. So in a way, it's exactly what the Patriots need. A.J. Brown is exactly what Drake Maye needs. I mean, let's simplify the frickin' math here. Drake Maye is the best deep ball thrower in the entire NFL. And his number one deep threat is Kayshon Boutte. Nice player. Would be awesome on the other side of A.J. Brown, you know? And I'm seeing, people talking about it this week. And in fact, we got a comment here from Saucy Lemons about this. The Patriots, they can, and this is from people I'm hearing this week, Saucy Lemons. The Patriots can keep these guys in line, right? They can keep their mouths shut for a year or two. They can make sure they're not divas. Well, Tom Brady could do that. Bill Belichick could do that. And they did do it several times. Randy Moss, great example. They basically locked Josh Gordon in a hotel for a couple of weeks, and even that didn't really work. Poor guy. What a freaking player he was. Can they do that with A.J. Brown? And one of the examples now is Stephon Diggs, which is what Saucy Lemons puts here. Diggs had some diva aura coming into this year. Yeah, he did. Everywhere he's gone, he's burned bridges. Everywhere. Minnesota, Buffalo, Houston. None of them were particularly sad to see him go. None of those quarterbacks or those coaches. And he did have a good year with the Patriots. But he now has to, testify in front of a jury or a judge or both as to whether he strangled his personal chef. He had a good year, but let's not act like Stephon Diggs was not a distraction. Between the pink cocaine and the Cardi B and inviting multiple women to the Super Bowl on his dollar. And yeah, maybe allegedly strangling his personal chef and having to move his court date because it was right before the AFC Championship game. Now, A.J. Brown's not in that kind of trouble, obviously. But with a young quarterback in here, is there too much diva around A.J. Brown? I think that's a legit question. And NJ Flip brings up the point that a lot of people are bringing up this week. He did grow up a Patriots fan. He did. He wants to play for the Patriots. Talked about how he almost cried when he was not drafted by the Patriots. And I think more important than that, other than he wants to play for the Patriots because he remembers how good they were when he was growing up in Starkville, Mississippi. I think more important than that is he really wants to play for Mike Vrabel. That's what I think he really wants. He said it, that initial report that came out during the season was that he wants to play for Vrabel again like he did in Tennessee and had some damn good productive years in Tennessee for those Mike Vrabel teams. And he said on the podcast, Dudes on Dudes is what it's called, talk about Vrabel. When I say he holds every single player accountable from top to bottom, I don't care who it is. That's who he is. And it makes the team come together because nobody is bigger than the team. Again, interesting comments for a guy who was arguing with his coach on the sideline. But in 3 years in Tennessee, he was an ultra productive receiver. Went over 1,000 yards for 2 of those seasons, had, 24 touchdowns in 3 years. If A.J. Brown is a Patriot, if we're just talking on the field, he opens up way more for the Patriots. And he's cheaper than Stephon Diggs. If you believe this report or this projection from Mo Moton, and you're thinking that you could get A.J. Brown for a 3rd-round pick and Carlton Davis and just cut bait with Stephon Diggs, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's kind of a no-brainer. He's a headache, sure, but a lot of good teams have headaches, a lot of them. And they make it happen, and maybe you have just a hard-ass enough coach to make sure that can happen. So I want to see the comment section here. Are you guys, forget about all this other, these factors. Do you want A.J. Brown on the Patriots? Do you think that elevates the Patriots and is worth the headache? Because I think what we have learned with the open market at wide receiver, and sometimes even drafting and developing these guys, you're going to have to deal with something like that. Last year, the guy who got on the market was Stephon Diggs. There's baggage there. One of the other guys you were talking about was trading for DK Metcalf. There's some baggage there. His team cut bait with him, and then they won the Super Bowl. So I think maybe, are there red flags there? Totally, for sure. The guy's a headache. But I think we really need to ask ourselves, is that the price of doing business? Having a headache, catching 80 to 90 balls a year, going for 1,000 yards, getting double-digit touchdowns. Might just be worth it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is that going to be the actual trade package? Because I don't think it is. I know there's the contract that he's disgruntled. I think you might need a second-round pick to go out and get him. And yeah, defensive starter and Carlton Davis. That's tough too. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, y'all, especially those of y'all watching live. That helps us out so much. If you like and subscribe, and check out the other videos on the YouTube channel. We're talking nothing but Boston sports, man, or Boston sports adjacent, as we'll see in the next segment. But guys, we're here every weekday on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart on 365 Sports. And of course, you can catch us tomorrow evening, 5 o'clock. Get right off of work and head right on over to Charlestown, man. Nothing better to me than doing that, going to Blackmore Bar and Kitchen and coming to see us there. And look at Zach with that quick trigger. Make sure he gets that banner up there. He's great with it, man. He is great with it. And we want the people to know about it. We do. We're going to take another quick little break. We're going to put a bow on this thing in just a minute here. We're going to talk about USA Hockey, which is Boston sports adjacent, because the double gold medal is breaking not one, but two nations for some reason. And before we get to that, to answer NJ Flip's question, yes, we are live streaming it on YouTube tomorrow, so check it out then. But when we come back, how these two nations have been broken by Olympic glory and politics and other bullshit. It's coming up next on the Wicked Boston Show.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart, 365 Sports, in a poppin' comment section today. We're live on YouTube, as we're on YouTube every day, actually. We're your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. None of the BS, the only Boston sports show that is truly by the fan and for the fan, and is not just interested in whatever Jordan Hudson is doing next. God forbid. I do want to talk about some USA hockey. I can't get enough of USA hockey, man. But I'm just going to say it, man. Winning a championship in the social media era, in the Twitter era, is infinitely worse than when you don't have any of those apps and your team wins a championship. Like, if I didn't have to have it for work, I would never have social media ever. And I would just enjoy what happened on Sunday as one of the great sporting moments of my lifetime. I was freaking out. It was awesome. But then it just gets ruined. It gets ruined. And part of that is by our president. And this will get only quasi-political, which is fine because I am apolitical. And when I do vote, I don't vote for either major party. So I think you guys are both douchebags, okay? Both sides of you, all right? But then it just gets fucking ruined every time, man. Every time. So if you don't know, they celebrate in the locker room afterwards. They have Kash Patel, the FBI director, like whatever. The president calls them, as they do after a big win like this, and makes a joke about the women's team and not inviting them. And it's a stupid joke. Like, it was dumb. I didn't think it was funny. But also kind of whatever. And because the players laughed at it, because again, the president's on the other line, then it becomes this whole big deal. And all of these players are misogynists and they need to apologize and think of the women in their life. Like, I mean, they made it out to be like that Quinn Hughes and Jack Hughes killed their mother because they laughed at this joke. Like, it was absolutely crazy. And so the women's team is not going to the White House for a couple of different reasons. Probably because of that joke, and I think it's kind of nothing, but I also don't blame them for that. They feel slighted, then you don't have to go. Like, that's fine, and you want to make it into a statement. I'm also fine with that. Like, stand up for yourselves if that's what you think you're doing. That's great. But the other reason is, like half this team is college players. Like, they got to go back to school. They just missed 3 weeks of school. And they don't, the PWHL cannot charter flights to go pick up these ladies like the NHL can. The whole men's team can go to Washington and go to the State of the Union because they could get picked up and get to their next stop. But where you lose me is when we get totally hypocritical. And I'm just going to use one example. There's so many of these from celebrities. I'm just going to use one example. This is from Sophia Bush, who is on one of my favorite television programs of all time, One Tree Hill, and has really lived off that for 20 years and is super duper duper Hollywood liberal. Fine. But does this whole monologue about how, hockey is misogynistic and this and that. And I guess you can't really read the caption, but at the end of it, she says, shout out to Flava Flav for showing what a real man is and inviting the women's hockey team to come party with him in Vegas. Really? Flava Flav is the real man here. Okay? I'm not saying Trump is, but Flava Flav, the guy who has a 35-year history of serially beating women, like the dude just like wakes up and beats women. He's been arrested 4 times for it over a 35-year span. That guy, that's the one. When he beat up one of his girlfriends, he threatened to kill her teenage son with a knife. Like, that's the real man we're talking about here. Like, guys, we need to get some perspective here. Some perspective. And part of that is me, by the way. Part of that is me being like, hey, the people that are making a big deal of this on Twitter and Instagram, for the most part, are not real people. They are figures that exist online and live in this insane bubble. But we're starting to see it with hockey Twitter, which is a scary place right now. But all these people who just, and this is coming from a guy who talks about sports for a living in his back office, right? Like, these people, they make their whole lives out to be these players. And I've seen a bunch of them saying, oh, I can't root for Quinn Hughes anymore because he laughed at this joke and he went to the White House. I saw one yesterday that was, they can't root for Charlie McAvoy or Jacob Slavin anymore. Charlie McAvoy, who marches in the Pride Parade in Boston, who puts the rainbow tape on his stick. Like, he doesn't have to do that. Genuinely a good guy and helps out in his community all the time. Jacob Slavin, who last year raised over $1 million for children living in third world conditions in the Philippines, who adopts children. Like, that's the guy. Like, he's involved in countless local charities. That's the guy who you say, he went with his team to the White House. I can't root for him anymore. That's where I'm like, if that is what is going to determine it for you, the healthiest thing to do is to not watch sports anymore. Like, if one little thing like that is going to turn you and make you hate this person that you've so idolized, then sports probably aren't for you. Maybe focus on like fictional characters, because these are real people. Okay. I'll give you an example. I have a brother who has autism. Okay. And he loves like gathering facts, not to sound like Rain Man or anything, but he loves gathering facts. And he loves Facebook because he got to learn about a lot of people, where they were from, who they were dating, who their kids are, you know what I mean? And it got to a point where he was going down too much of a rabbit hole. And we had to say, no more Facebook, because it's a little bit too much. You don't know this, but it's kind of like stalking, but you don't know that. And so the best solution was to get off of Facebook before it spun out of hand. That's what we're talking about here. Like, if emotionally you can't handle the fact that one of your favorite hockey players, not your dad, not your significant other, but one of your hockey players that you root for, went to the White House with his friends, with his teammates after accomplishing a once-in-a-lifetime feat, then you probably just shouldn't be watching sports anymore. It's a too big a risk for you to absolutely lose your goddamn mind, which is what's happening here. And it's sad, because this is an awesome moment for this sport, for this country, and for those players and for the fans, the next generation. But that's just what happens now. What I actually love about the fallout, the meltdown of this week, is how Canada's handling it. And we have really hit something. We have really struck a nerve with the Canadians here, because, like, let's be honest, I love Canada. I actually really do. I love visiting there. The people, for the most part, are pretty nice. They've obviously lost their goddamn mind here. But this is what they've got. Hockey is their export to the world. Everything else that Canada is good at, like socially, socioeconomically, politically, even if you want to go there, America is also known for, right? Except for hockey. And we beat them in both, men's and women's. So they're not handling it very well. And the poster child of this is JD Bunkus, who actually works for Sportsnet. Big Leafs guy. So, celebrating a win is kind of out of his wheelhouse. Typically, he doesn't know what that's like, right? But he had this tweet after the U.S. won the gold. Honestly, if you're American celebrating that win, you're a casual. You don't know puck. Totally fine. Grow the game. Rage bait. Not the worst tweet we saw in the day, but pretty bad. And made even worse by this tweet that was uncovered from JD Bunkus 3 years ago. No greater American hockey tradition than losing to Canada, making excuses, and being poor sports about it. I mean, time is a flat circle, JD. You loser. Like, you moron, dude. And he'll say, oh, yeah, I just wanted to get a bunch of comments under there. And as you can see, this was from when I screenshotted it, 13,000 responses. 13,000. And far from the only one. This is another guy who does TV, sports TV in Canada. Congratulations to the 3-on-3 Olympic ice hockey champs. IIHF should be ashamed. Should be ashamed. And look, I'll say it. I said it the other day. I don't love that the knockout games in the Olympics were 3-on-3 overtime. I don't love that. But U.S. won one to get to the gold medal game. Canada won one to get to the gold medal game. And let's just do a thought exercise here. If you were going to put any combination of 3 skaters on the ice, and you just needed to pick the 3 best players in the world, you might pick Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar. That's a pretty good 3. Oh, yeah. That's the fucking 3 that Canada had on the ice when they lost the gold medal. So spare me this bullshit of it's the 3-on-3's fault. Okay? Because it's not. You literally could not have put any 3 better players on the ice than what you put out there. And you lost. You lost. But my God, this inferiority complex is getting out of control. I've never seen a fan base cope quite like this one. Quite like this one. And then, yeah, I love this one too. Another one that's about, 3-on-3 was in this thread, but this was another guy who's on TSN. So one team dominates, gets goalied, and loses in a gimmick. 35 million devastated and hand-wringing for the next 4 years. The other team celebrates, and in 24 hours, fans will forget all about it. Go back to the sports that actually matter to them. Yeah, isn't that more embarrassing? Farhan, isn't that more embarrassing when the country that doesn't care about it as much as you do kicks your ass? And I love the whole, Canada, and this is coming from the quote, obviously, of Nathan McKinnon, you be the judge of who the better team is. Yeah, maybe if you could hit an open net, then we wouldn't have to be the judge. You could just say it was you. And I love this whole thing of, they only won because they had the goalie. And we got goalied. Oh, great. Yeah, so the U.S. won because they had the goalie. You only won because of a player on your team. I seem to remember that from the Utah Jazz. Well, they only won because they had Michael Jordan. Yeah, no shit. Connor Hellebuck plays for us. He was born in our country. And if your country could develop a goalie, then this wouldn't be a problem. But you got out there the worst goalie in the NHL this year, who's nails in international competition and was for most of this competition. But don't yell at me that you got goalied and that's unfair when you decided to bring the worst qualified goalie in the league. Sorry. Whoopsie. Connor Hellebuck's parents banged and then had him in the United States of America. So overall, it's just funny, man. It's funny seeing these Canadians melt down. I'll be friends with them again in a couple of weeks, but boy, are they done for after this U.S. gold medal. Both of them. Anyway, what was your favorite Canadian coping mechanism? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then come over and see us at the Blackboard Bar and Kitchen tomorrow, 5 p.m. We'll be doing it right before that Bruins Blue Jackets game. Charlie Coyle's return, and we'll talk about the gold medalists as well and some trade deadline stuff. So come see us then tomorrow afternoon, and then on Friday we'll be back here on YouTube. We will see you then on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart.
The Pete Souza Show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. You want to talk NFL draft? I don't know. How about we get you Todd McShay? You want to talk Big 12? We can get you the commissioner. Somebody about the Cowboys? How about we have on the owner, Stephen Jones? Pop culture? Michelle Beadle. I mean, we will bring on the people that you want to hear from. And these people don't join us because of me. They join us because of you. You got to watch this show, okay? It's got everything you need. Sports, hijinks, laughs. Did I mention hijinks? We'll see you on the Pete Souza Show. Now, we are under the 365 Sports umbrella. Check it out. I'm wearing a Tulane shirt. No idea why.
It's the Pete Souza Show. Sports, Pete.
Blackmore Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmore Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmorebar.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGoAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.